This is House Corrections and Institutions. It is Wednesday, February 12th. And we have with us the Vermont Arts Council Vermont Art Day. And we have some documents or some pamphlets that have been distributed on our desk along with a book. So I'm going to turn it over to Christopher.
Kaufman Ilstrup.
Great.
I'll say it again.
Yes, welcome. If
Thank
you could
you.
identify yourself for the record.
I will. Thank you so much for having us, everybody. It's a delight to be here. My name is Christopher Kaufman Ilstrup. I'm the executive director at Vermont Humanities, which is the sister organization to the Vermont Arts Council. We collectively, through the Vermont Creative Network, organized this day for arts and culture organizations to come to the State House and talk to committees. And we've been really gratified by the generous reception. I think we've been in 11 different committee rooms today.
Oh, wow.
With
House and Senate.
House and Senate sides, which has been great. It might be a record for arts, culture, and humanities day. So we are at Vermont Humanities, as the Vermont Arts Council is as well, the state affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. They are the affiliate of the National Endowment for the Arts, both of which could use your love and support right now. And we also at Vermont Humanities are the state affiliate for the Library of Congress as well. So through their Center for the Book program, we're grateful for all of our local and state partners and thankful to the legislature and to the governor for offering financial support for Vermont Humanities and Vermont Arts every year going back many, many, many years. So thank you for that. In 2024, Vermont Humanities awarded almost $500,000 in grants across the state. All 14 counties received funding for public humanities projects. Some examples of that include our Veterans Town Hall program, which provides opportunities for veterans to get together and tell their stories in a nonpartisan, non-political way to build relationships and understanding between veterans and non-veterans in the state. We funded the Wyndham World Affairs Council down in the southern part of the state for a series of conversations about the U.S. Constitution, led by scholar Meg Mott, as well as a bunch of planning for America 250, which, as you know, is coming right up next year. And finally, the last example that I want to give you for a grant is right here behind this building. We've supported the city of Montpelier Parks and Trees Department to do interpretive signage, bringing the Abenaki language into the park, which for those of us who are here, if you walk around in the park, you've probably seen some of that. We also run a number of other initiatives, including the Vermont Early Learning Initiative, which works with librarians around early literacy training. We run Never Too Early trainings and Read With Me trainings for early educators, primarily those working with the littlest, 0 to 5. They receive continuing education credit for that through Northern Lights and CCV. And we run summer humanities camps primarily for middle school students and high school students around the state. There were 17 camps last year. Those are just some of our programs. But what I really want to talk about today is Vermont Reads. And I have left you a Vermont Reads book on your desk. We hope you'll take a moment, a few hours to read it. It's by Ken Caddo, who is the principal at Oxbow High School in the Upper Valley. This book was a National Book Award finalist on the day that it was published. It has since won a Michael Prince honor. It was a finalist for the Vermont Book Award and most recently won the Kirkus Prize, which is an internationally renowned literary prize.
He just gave our devotional.
And he just gave your devotional last week. And then came and spoke at Farmers Night as part of our Farmers Night event that we do. You can watch that now on Orca. You can find it on our website, the link to it. This has been the most popular Vermont Reads in the 23-year history of the program. As of the end of last month, we had given away 6,200 copies of the book across the state. We have about another 3,000 left to go. The program runs through June. 91 different communities are running 120 different projects around Gather right now. And the reason why we're here in this committee is that we're doing Vermont Reads projects with Writers for Recovery in the correctional facilities. Right. And for us, it's a return to the correctional facilities for the first time since before the pandemic. and really honored to be working with Bess O'Brien and her team to be able to do that work. Bess is going to talk to you in a little bit more detail about that in a few minutes. Also, as part of Vermont Reads Gather, we've been showing Bess's film around the state, Just Getting By, about food and housing insecurity in the state of Vermont. This is it's an intense book. It's about a high school age student who is trying to protect his mom, who's struggling with substance abuse disorder, and all of the things that he does to try and kind of keep his family safe in a world that is very difficult and confusing. It is ultimately a hopeful book, so I want you all to be aware of that. If you're going through it, you're often going to be yelling at it, saying, "Don't do it like that." But it is ultimately a hopeful story. And it's really relevant to the stories of a lot of the people in the correctional facilities. And indeed, pretty much all of us have somebody in our life who's been touched by substance abuse disorder at this point. I'm going to close my little piece and then turn it over to Bess, who's going to talk more specifically about what's happening in the facilities, with a quote from one of the teachers we've been working with, who wrote to us after her project saying, "One of the most meaningful moments for me at Literacy Night was watching a student who is well reflected in Gather's main character interacting with the author, Ken Cato. The look in their eyes and the author's eyes was so telling beyond words. When students are able to see their real life struggles reflected and validated in the eyes of an author and the community, I think they start to see a future for themselves that might be broader than they might have previously thought possible." I think that is the experience that we're having over and over and over again with this book around the state. We're grateful for your support. And now I'm going to let Bess talk a little bit more specifically about the facilities, and then we'll both be here for questions after.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Well, actually, I do have to step up for the speakers, so if you want to be up here for questions.
All right, howdy, everybody. My name is Bess O'Brien. I'm from Kingdom County Corrections up in the Northeast Kingdom. I'm a documentary filmmaker, but I also run Writers for Recovery. We've been doing this for 10 years across the state. We work in all of the recovery centers, all of the prisons, and the treatment centers across the state. Well, what is Writers for Recovery? Very simple. It's exactly what it says. What we do is we go and primarily work with folks who are in recovery from addiction and substance abuse disorder, and we give them 7-minute prompts. So when we're working in the correctional facilities, we will get between 5 and 20 people. And part of what we want to do is sort of get rid of the stigma of writing. A lot of these folks who are in correctional facilities perhaps have bad remembrances of high school. Maybe they didn't, get through high school or weren't a great writer. Some of them are. So this is not about spelling and, syntax. This is about creative expression. So part of what we do is we give them prompts that are very open-ended. So, some of the prompts that we might give are, "I am from," "When I walked into the room," "Here is a question I ask myself," "A morning during my addiction." Okay, so these are just ways for them to sort of take whatever that brings to mind and write only for 7 minutes, so they don't have to think about it very long. And it's extraordinary what happens in 7 minutes. Pretty amazing. And then we read them out loud and we share them. And that's really sort of the magical part of it, is listening to each other and hearing and connecting with each other. We also gather. We did 3 workshops in 3 different prisons where the folks read Gather, and then we did 3 writing workshops off of the book. A lot of these folks totally connected to the main character, and then we sort of wrote around that, which was really powerful. We also do a really cool project called the Lullaby Project, which is in collaboration with Vermont Network Against Domestic Violence and Scrag Mountain Music, where we go into the women's prison and we write lullabies for their children. It's a fabulous program. We spend 2 days with the women. These probably usually about 20 women. They're like, "I don't know how to write any music. I've never done this before." And it's absolutely a miracle because we work with them on the lyrics and then they work with these musicians, and within 2 days, they have a personal lullaby that they can sing to their children. Or grandmothers write a lullaby that they can sing to their grandchildren. And a really cool little story off of that is that this program started at Carnegie Hall, and we were trained through a program there at Carnegie Hall. And every year they ask for admissions from people all over the country who are doing the lullaby projects. We submitted one a couple of years ago that a grandmother wrote, and they took it, and then they present all of the winning lullabies at Carnegie Hall with professional musicians. And then they send you the DVD of the performance. And so the year after we were, chosen, we were back at the prison, and this woman was still there, and we brought her in and we said, Samantha, we'd like to show you something. And we showed her, we said, these are people singing your lullaby in New York City at Carnegie Hall. And she was, blown away. I mean, just very, very cool. So writing in the prisons, being, the arts are so incredibly important for self-expression, for connection, for a sense of self-esteem. And frankly, I would need to thank the Department of Corrections because they have been supporting this program for 10 years. We get a grant every year from the Department of Corrections for the Writers' Recovery workshops. And we also have gotten a grant this year through the Vermont Humanities. So it's really fun to connect with them. We usually do 10 sessions with each facility. And they always want more. We always leave with them saying, don't go, and it's just been great. And, some of the things that these folks say is this is one of the best programs in the correctional facility, because as you know, there's not a lot going on, especially in the men's prisons. There's less going on in the men's prisons than there are in the women's prison. We've left many times and had guys continue to do the program on their own, organizing people on their wing to continue to do it, which is really cool. And we also see a lot of these guys and or women leave the prison and then show up at a recovery center where we're doing a writer's recovery workshop saying, I'm out now and I want to continue to write. Plus, writing is a great tool for some people, but many people to, process their emotions, to get through something, if they're depressed or whatever. So we're also giving them tools that they can use in the future. So I just want to say that these are great projects. We really appreciate your support. Every other year, we do an anthology of the best writing. And that is also really cool because folks in incarceration get their pieces published. And I'm just going to read you 2 very short pieces to show you what these guys and women can do. This one is called I Am From. This was written in 7 minutes. I am from the city of drug addicts and criminal behavior. I am from a home laced with domestic violence. I am from the worst walk of life. I am from a place that fighting is average and walking teens is all you see. They are on an adventure to find the next high. I am from a place I call luxury. Others might not see it that way. I am from a town known for drug dealers. I am from a toxic place I call home. Intense. There's another one. A morning clean and sober, refreshing, exhilarating, healthy, happy, energetic, guilt-free, motivated, more money in my pocket. I know where my wallet is and my teeth. The air smells fresher, cleaner, and the bacon, eggs, and toast make my stomach happy too. The kitchen is clean. There are no beer and whiskey bottles on the table, floor, couch, no cigarette burns, and the ashtrays aren't overflowing. I feel a sense of self-control. I'm ready to go to work. I don't stink of alcohol. I'm clean and sober. So, you can imagine these guys sort of sitting there in a circle, or these women writing these things, reading them out loud, and then sharing. So it's a fabulous program. Thank you for supporting us. And that's it for me. Yeah.
Wow.
So any questions or for either of us about anything? Yeah.
Bess, where can we find that, like that, you know, is that online? Do you have a
Well,
website?
We do have a website. I'm going to leave you information. I have a one sheet and I also have a couple of books so you can fight over them. But you can buy them on our website. We also have a lot of the pieces that people have written on our website. So you can go there. It's just writersrecovery.org.
And I've been following you and Jay for like 30 years.
What's your name?
John Sweeney.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When Jay made,
Where the rivers flow north?
I made Swimming on the Moon.
Oh, okay.
And he and I were in the same Bessie, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I've always like, and just respect everything you've done, you've made, the love you put into all the stuff in Vermont.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
It's so hard to follow up with questions because I just can't thank you for what you're doing. I mean.
Well, thank you.
It's making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
It's these
Well-
little things that will really make a difference. And, you know, we just, in dealing with corrections, we just think that everyone in there is just a terrible human being, but they're all scarred one way or another.
And I'm telling you, man, you walk into these places and it's like, you know, we are water in the desert. They are like just, you know, so happy to be able to be connecting to doing something that is more than staring at the wall, watching television. I know now we have a recovery coaches coming in, which is fabulous. That is a really great thing that you guys are doing. You know, more programs, the better. You know, these people, and you know, what I really find with Writers for Recovery or the Lullaby Project also is that people who don't think they can do something and they feel proud of it, even if it's writing, you know, a poem. I mean, that is a big deal. That is a big deal. And then saying, oh, and it's in this, which goes, you know, to all the libraries and all the, you know, I mean, it sounds perhaps small, but it's, you know, for people who are like, have always thought that they are worthless, essentially, you know, it's
Society
re-victimized.
well,
Of
it
course.
reinforces that they're useless.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say, you know, last year we did an evaluation of all of the prison work that we had been involved in. We looked back at probably 30 years worth of corrections-based programming that Vermont Humanities has supported, with the idea towards looking to the future, right? Because things came to a sudden and screeching halt, as you know, in 2020, and nobody was allowed back in literally until 2024, right? 4 solid years of almost no work. As part of that report, we were soliciting feedback from folks, and what really stood out to me was the person who said, when I participated in a Writers for Recovery project, it was the first time since I got here that I forgot that I was in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, you know, this Writers Recovery came out of my film, The Hungry Heart, which I made 13 or 14 years ago on the opiate addiction thing. And really that was because after touring that all over the country, I was like, I want to continue to work with people in recovery. Because it is so clear that people who tell their story, people who are given the opportunity to speak about who they are, whether it's film or writing, moves them forward in their healing process. It just does. I mean, it's just a very simple thing to do, but it really works. And so I've been really thrilled to be able to continue to do this work. And it's really important, I think, Vermont should be proud that you guys are doing these kinds of things in the prisons. We need probably twice as much of it. But it's important to fill the days with something for these people to do.
Well, it also helps in their return to society.
Absolutely.
Because,
Absolutely.
you know, to be incarcerated 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, just think how much society has changed. And then all of a sudden you're put back in there.
Yeah.
And then society expects them to succeed.
Yeah.
And it's,
Right.
any one of us would not be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's really good you're working with recovery centers too.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Thanks so much, Bess. I wonder, like, when you write, you generally develop more of an appetite to read too.
I'm embarrassed. I don't know. Do the correctional facilities have access to like interlibrary loan programs that they connect to the libraries? What kind of access?
Well, I can tell you one thing, when I did the gather workshops in the women's prison, so they read the book, then they came together, we talked about the book for one day, and then we read it for 2 or 3 day sessions after that. They said, please, please, please get us books into we really, the library is just pathetic.
They have the actual books, but I don't know if they do the.
I'd love to see
I don't-
connect them to some local libraries too, because I've
Yeah,
learned a lot about the interlibrary loan programs recently, and that could be a beautiful thing.
Wi-Fi and
I can speak to that a little bit.
Wi-Fi.
If you'd like, Representative Evans. Each of the facilities does have a library,
Right.
but the books tend to be quite old and dated.
yes, exactly.
And there's only ever a very tiny budget, like probably measured in hundreds, not thousands of dollars, maybe tens of dollars for buying new books and up-to-date books each year. And I know that the state library, the Department of Libraries is in charge of that, and could really use more resources to desperately get up-to-date books into the library.
I mean, it's so sweet too, because like when we brought the books in for Gather, these books, they were like, a book. I mean, they are so,
It's not tattered.
yeah, a new book. Can I keep this?
They
I was
get to
like,
keep it,
yes,
which
you
is
get to keep
actually a big
it,
Deal,
you know?
right?
So-
It becomes theirs.
So, I just know that is that every single person in the women's prison wants to read books? Not necessarily, but the people that I work with all were like, please, please, please get us better books. We really have nothing. So, yeah.
I'd be
Yeah,
happy
please,
to
let's-
come back and give you more details.
That'd be great. And please say hello to, is Jasper your son? Oh, well, he's missed. Even when he was stalking me back when I was at the party there, he was a great reporter. I really enjoyed working with him. Tell him he's missed.
I will.
No one would stalk you.
He stalked me all the way down to Philadelphia for the convention.
Oh, my God.
He did.
I'll tell him hi. That's great.
I just want to thank you. Thank you for
Thank you
being
for-
flexible, for coming.
Yeah, sure.
This is just such an uplifting testimony. I just want to thank you both.
Thank you for what
Thank you
you do.
so much.
Hey, thank you for all your good
James
work.
Or Sean, would you get a picture of this gentleman with Alice? He
We're
was,
gonna go.
he was a page when she first came in.
We're in trouble now. We're on Zoom still. She won't.
She's got to say yes,
1983,
83. So
Really?
you got to take a picture.
Right, I
before and
will.
after.
You can't say no because we're still on.
Yeah, right. Well, we're going off.
I will take a picture.
Yes, you'll take a picture. So tomorrow we have a joint committee meeting with House Judiciary down in room 10 at 9 o'clock. So.
Thank you all.